Hello, everyone, and welcome to our online U.S. History 1865 to the present course. Today's presentation is just an introduction to the course. I'm going to take you through what we'll be doing this term and hopefully answer a lot of questions for you. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Megan Satie. I have my PhD in American history from UCLA. And since earning my degree back in 2007, I've taught history courses at a variety of higher education institutions, including the University of Minnesota, UCLA, Framingham State University in Massachusetts, several different California State University campuses. I've also been teaching online courses with Southern New Hampshire University since 2013. Here in Worcester, I teach obviously at Worcester State. I also teach courses at WPI. So history is really one of my passions. It has been since I was a very little girl. I used to read a lot of books when I was a kid about famous historical figures, and I found it really fascinating to think about what life was like in the past, and how different life must have been back then. Since I went on to study history in college and then in graduate school, my interest obviously in the subject has grown as I came to understand what it actually means to study history, how historians use primary sources to construct a narrative, to tell a story about the past. And I began to realize that the past is in many ways not at all like the present. Not only in the way that people lived their lives, but in how they viewed the world. And so, my mission as a history professor is to help you understand that people in the past saw the world in very different ways than we view the world today. Understanding that simple but somehow counterintuitive idea that allows us to not only see the past on its own terms, but also it helps us develop a sense of empathy and tolerance for people who might be very different from ourselves. And I think that, of course, is very necessary for all of us as citizens of today's globally connected world. So that's one of the main benefits, I think, of studying history is to be able to develop that sense of tolerance, empathy, understanding. A little bit about myself personally. My husband and I live in Worcester. We have a 13, almost 13-year-old son who keeps me very busy. In my spare time, I like to cook. I enjoy singing. I sing in a choir at one of the local churches here. I like to read a lot. Don't get to do enough reading. Outside of my, kind of professional concerns, but I enjoy reading very much. I also watch a lot of television and movies, so that's kind of, a little bit about myself. Now, our course is entirely online, and we are an asynchronous course, which means that we won't be meeting all together at any set time. Each week, you'll be working through the course material at your own pace and on your own schedule. There are some internal deadlines, typically, and I'll go over this in just a minute. Thursday nights for your initial posts on the discussion board. Most other assignments are usually due on Sundays. But other than that, you can basically decide how and when you want to get your assignments done. How will we be connecting with each other? Well, there are a couple of main ways. In order to engage with each other about the course material, we're going to be using the discussion board forums. And participating in the discussion forum will be a significant portion of your grade. So this is going to be the main way that we interact with each other throughout the term. If you need to contact me, the best way to get in touch with me is via email, which you can see my email there on the screen. I'm very happy if you need to meet with me in person. I'm very happy to schedule an appointment with you. Just send me an email and we will make an appointment to meet either in person, on campus, or we can meet via Zoom. And if you have any questions about anything, please just always, sort of send me an email. So, what is this course about? So in this course, we are going to be exploring the politics, the society, the economy, the diplomacy, and the culture of the United States since the end of the Civil War. And there are kind of three main themes that we are going to chart throughout the course. The first of these I'm calling hierarchy versus equality. A lot of American history can really be read as a struggle between two big ideas. The idea of a human hierarchy, where some people are considered superior and by nature born to rule, and others inferior and by nature born to be ruled. So that's one side. And then on the other, you have the idea that human beings are by nature free and equal, and that people can govern themselves. We're going to explore how the tension between these two ideas, how it shaped American history from the Reconstruction era through the late 20th century, and how that idea continues to be relevant to our society today. That sort of also combines with the second main theme, which is freedom and liberty. One very well-known American historian, Eric Foner, has said that no idea is more fundamental to Americans' sense of themselves than freedom. And we are going to look at how the meaning of freedom has changed over time and how different groups in American society have attempted to claim freedom for themselves. And thirdly, we are going to be spending a lot of time in this course talking about a constitutional amendment, the 14th Amendment, which was passed in the aftermath of the Civil War. It's probably the most important addition to the U.S. Constitution since the original Bill of Rights. It has proved to be enormously influential in defining what it means to be an American and in expanding the basic civil rights of citizens since it was ratified in 1868. And it continues to play a major role in determining what our rights are as American citizens. It's fair to say that you really can't have a full understanding of modern American history without considering the impact of the 14th Amendment. So we are going to be spending a lot of time in this course talking about the 14th Amendment and considering it, and I'll be explaining that in more detail in just a bit. So there are three main things that I want you to know as we get started in this course. The first thing is that you are going to work hard in this course. Historians do a lot of reading and writing as part of our profession. So there'll be a lot of reading and writing that you will do in this class. The second thing I want you to know is that I am here to support you. My job as your professor is to help you earn the best grade that you can, and I am here to support you in doing that. And the third thing I want you to know is that you've got this. There is no reason why you can't do well in this course. If you, just follow the guidelines in the syllabus, make sure to stay on top of your assignments, communicate with me. Those are the key things in order to do well. And, you've got this. You can do it. Now, I know that all of us have in our lives things outside of our educational and professional activities going on. And it's very easy to fool ourselves into thinking that we can control what happens in our lives. And no one ever really wakes up in the morning knowing exactly what's going to happen to them that day. And so when life happens to you, send me an email. When something happens that didn't go as you were expecting that it would, or as you were hoping, when all of the little minor everyday stresses of life start to pile up and start to become overwhelming, or if something major life altering comes out of nowhere and blindsides you, please get in touch with me. Send me an email. Sometimes life can hit you like a ton of bricks and it can destroy the best laid plans that you've made for yourself. And everyone is going to have a day in their life when that happens to them. I know some of you may be experiencing extra stresses in your lives right now. Uh, you know, maybe you have kids and you're, dealing with them, or maybe there are financial pressures, maybe there are family issues. And so it may not be during this term, but it's important to remember a couple of things. Life will happen at the very worst time when you least expect it. When it happens, please reach out to me. I've been teaching for a very long time and I've seen a lot of different things happen to students. And often, when life happens, instead of reaching out, they fall silent. And if and when life happens to you, just get in touch with me. I'm here to help in any way that I can. I've had students lose family members, get evicted, experience natural disasters, go through a breakup or a divorce, have an unexpected hospitalization, start a new job, or just get overwhelmed with the day-to-day business of surviving. Send me an email. I'm going to help you get through it, no matter what it is. I can give you extensions. I can provide clarification on assignments. I can be a good listener. I can point you to the many resources that Worcester State University has for students. I can help you catch up if you fall behind. Your success in this course is very important to me. And if you drop off the radar, that's when I tend to worry and I'll try to contact you. But the best thing to do is to get in touch with me. If anything, and I really mean anything, is impinging on your ability to complete your assignments, please let me know and we will work out a way for you to stay on track in the course. So during this term, if you experience some kind of life happens event, don't go through it alone. Please do get in touch with me. All right, so now that that is out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what we'll be doing in this course. The first thing I want to spend some time talking about are the required texts in the course website. So our main required text is a primary source reader, Going to the Source, Volume 2, Since 1865, and that is available to purchase via ecampus.com. You can see what it looks like there, and please make sure to get the 5th edition of the text. Other editions have different chapters. They've changed, sort of quite a bit from edition to edition, so please do make sure you get the 5th edition of the book. Our course is also going to use an open educational resource textbook called The American Yawp, which is available for free at www.americanyawp.com. We will be reading chapters 15 through 30 in the textbook. And links to that, as well as any other readings that I assign to you, these are all going to be posted up on Blackboard. So that's a little bit about the required texts. In terms of what you are required to do in this course, the main thing I want to stress is engagement and participation. You should be actively engaged in the course on a regular basis. How much you enjoy this course and, the success you have in it is dependent, at least in a large part, on you. When you're in an online course, there's no way to hide at the back of the class, right? So get to know your classmates, participate in the discussions, look for people who have similar ideas, and then look for people who might see things from an entirely different perspective. Take the opportunity to build our virtual classroom by making posts, by being involved. Everyone in the class shares an equal responsibility for interacting with each other and engaging with each other in the forums. To make sure that you keep up your engagement, you should try to aim to log on to our course at least 4 to 5 times during each module. Ideally, you would be in there once a day, but I know you are all adults and you can decide, sort of when and how you want to engage. In the modules where we do have a discussion forum, which will be most of the weeks, your classmates will be adding to the discussion every day. And if you miss some days, it's going to make it difficult to adequately participate. So make sure that you are also paying attention to any announcements that I post in the course, and also check your Worcester State email. Make sure to check your email at least once a day, maybe even twice a day, to make sure that you're staying on top of anything that you need to know about in the course. You will be doing a lot of reading, as I mentioned in this class. Each week, you're going to be reading chapters from our textbook, The American Yawp. And to check that you've done the reading, you will complete a series of multiple choice quizzes on the chapters that you've read in the textbook. And these quizzes are on our Blackboard site. And the quizzes you can complete, sort of at your own leisure. You have 2 chances to take each quiz. And the higher score of each attempt will be counted. So if you do poorly on one of the quizzes, it's in your interest to try again. We will also be doing a lot of reading and learning how to analyze the primary sources by using our Going to the Source reader, which I just talked about. You will need to read the assigned chapters and look at the sources in each chapter and complete the source analysis tables in order to participate in the discussion forums. The source analysis tables will be submitted as an assignment via Blackboard, and there's instructions on Blackboard about how to do that. As I mentioned, a lot of the way that we're going to be interacting with each other in the class is through these discussion forums. They're a very important part of the class, and it's worth a significant percentage of your overall grade. You should be making at least 3 posts in each discussion. You have an initial post, which is usually due on Thursdays, and you have responses to at least 2 of your classmates that are usually due on Sundays. Your discussion posts during most of the weeks are going to be based around the primary sources in Going to the Source and the source analysis tables that you will complete. So when you're posting, make sure that your posts, whether they're the initial post or your response posts, make sure that you address the discussion prompt, and make sure that you're including specific and significant details and examples from the primary sources in your posts. If you do not include specific, significant details and examples, if you just sort of gloss over them and say, oh, this is what the primary sources talk about in a sentence or 2, that's not going to be as successful at a discussion post as other posts that might include a lot more details. So the discussion prompts are typically presented in 2 parts. The first part should be addressed in your initial post, and then the second part is designed to focus your response posts to advance the discussion in some way. For each of your initial posts, you will also be posing a how or why question to your classmates, something related to the primary sources that you've read for this week or the topic that we're talking about. And by a how or why question, what I mean is a question that is phrased in such a way that it, asks how or why. So that's moving beyond kind of the basic level questions of who, what, when, where, and you're really getting into kind of more analytical questions that historians like to ask. And in your responses, then you will look at the questions that your classmates have posed and you will try to answer them based on your own reading and understanding of the material. So your discussion posts should have depth to them. They should have substantive content. So this is not just repeating what the reading says or what another person posts. That doesn't sort of amount to depth. 1 line or 2 line posts that just repeat material or just agree or disagree with the post without adding something, that's not going to be as successful as posts that are well thought out, that add new information to the discussion, that cite that information source. So posting with depth is designed to both advance the discussion and share your unique perspective on what we've been reading about. That's really what discussion posts are designed to do. So that's a little bit about the discussion forums. Now I'm going to talk about the 14th Amendment Project. As I mentioned, that's one of the big themes that we're going to be looking at in this course. American historian Eric Foner, he has called the passage of the 14th Amendment, along with the other two Reconstruction era amendments, the 13th and the 15th Amendment, he's called this America's second founding. So we are looking at the 14th Amendment. We're going to be concentrating on the 14th Amendment in our course with a semester-long project. And the project consists of two parts. The first of these is a course journal. So throughout the term, you will keep a course journal in Blackboard related to our exploration of the 14th Amendment. And the objectives of this are to encourage you to reflect about what you're learning and how you are learning it, to help you develop your writing skills, and to encourage you to retain and synthesize the course material. It's going beyond just short-term memorization here. Your journal will be kind of reflections on some videos, readings, sort of that you'll be doing related to the 14th Amendment. You will also be able to use the course journal as a place to reflect on the case that you are going to be researching for your creative project, which I'll talk about in just a minute. The journal is a place where you can communicate directly with me. And it's a place for you to build your creative project. And I'm the only other person who is going to see these entries. So I'm looking for you to engage with the material, to reflect upon it, to reflect on your thought process, have the ideas that are grabbing your attention, and explore why these things matter historically. So you're allowed to be very informal and creative here. You're not expected to, sort of create a polished essay for these course journal entries. It's really a chance for you to just sort of jot down your thoughts on what you're reading and kind of the things that you're watching and reading about. The second part of the 14th Amendment project, as I just mentioned, is a creative project. So over the course of the term, you will be researching the history of a famous Supreme Court case involving the 14th Amendment. And as the sort of main assignment for this class, you will be creating some kind of creative work. It can be a podcast, it could be a digital exhibit, a multimedia presentation. Really, the sky is the limit here. Something based around your case. It could be a piece of art, it could be poetry, it could be a play, it could be, really lots of different things you could do with this. I'm going to provide you with a list of possible cases that involve the 14th Amendment on our Blackboard site. And you will then submit the top 3 choice of cases and a proposal for your project by September 21st. The guidelines for this project are as follows. What you'll want to do in your project is tell the story about how your case came about and describe which parts of the 14th Amendment were involved in the case. You will explain how the Supreme Court ruled in the case and how it interpreted the 14th Amendment, and describe the immediate consequences of the ruling. If there are any dissenting opinions in your case, that means when some of the Supreme Court justices disagree, they write their disagreement in a dissent. Sometimes these dissents can have major future implications going forward. So you'll need to make sure to talk about dissenting opinions if they exist in your case. Now, some of the cases were ruled unanimously and don't have any dissenting opinions. If that is the case for you, please discuss any larger controversies surrounding the court's ruling. And then you'll also want to talk about why this case is important or influential in modern American history and how it might be relevant to our society today. There is some relevance that you can find for each and every one of the cases that is in the list of possible cases that you can choose from. So you'll want to think about the larger relevance to us today in 2025 in the United States. Why is this important? How you address these elements in your creative project is up to you. That's why it's a creative project. But to fully address these elements, you have to understand your case, and so that means you're going to need to do some outside research on it. So you need to find at least 4 scholarly books or journal articles or websites on your case and use them in your project. You'll submit your bibliography for your project as a course journal entry by October 12th. And you'll also be making at least 2 additional course journal entries related to your project based on the research you've done and the sources that you've found. One of these entries is describing the case, which will be due November 3rd, and then you'll make an entry explaining the contemporary relevance of your case, which is due November 9th. The total project, the finished product, whatever it is that you decide to create, that is due on December 8th. And you'll be submitting it in Blackboard, as well as sharing it with your classmates in the discussion forum. So everybody's going to get to see what everyone else has done for their creative project and learn a little bit, hopefully, about some of these important Supreme Court cases. So that's kind of the main assignments for this course. I want to talk a little bit about grades and my lateness policy. My philosophy on grading is that grades don't really measure what we assume that they do. They don't necessarily effectively communicate information about how much someone has learned or understood. And it's been found in lots of studies that grades themselves aren't intrinsically motivating for students. So for this course, I don't want you to focus so much on the grade. I want you to focus on completing the work in a successful way. And because of that, my focus is going to be on clearly communicating to you what's expected via rubrics and giving you constructive feedback on how you did. And if you complete the work successfully, there's really no problem. You should have no problem earning full or very close to full credit. If there are areas for improvement, you will always have the opportunity to revise and resubmit your work. Your first attempt at something might not be perfect, and that's totally okay. In fact, that's the way we learn. We learn by making mistakes, by trying and failing, and then trying again. So if you need to revise, you absolutely can. I expect that everybody will complete assignments by the specified deadlines, but I'm always open to giving extensions if you need one. And as soon as you find yourself in that position, please just let me know. We will set a new deadline together and you will be expected to meet that new deadline. If you, for whatever reason, don't ask me for an extension ahead of time, or if you're unable to meet that revised deadline, I will accept late work up to 7 days past the deadline with a lateness penalty of 10% off. After that 7-day grace period, I do not accept late work unless you have some kind of documented emergency. If there are extenuating circumstances, severe illness, hospitalization, major accident, bereavement, something like that, that prevented you from submitting your work within that 7-day grace period, please notify me as soon as possible with documentation, and we will determine a new deadline for you to submit your work. I'm going to talk in just a minute about absences and what the absence policy, how that would apply to our course. All assignments have to be submitted by the last day of classes, December 8th. I will not accept any assignments after that date, again, unless there's some kind of last-minute documented emergency. So, in terms of kind of expected behavior in this class, even though we're not actually meeting together, there are a couple of things that I expect you to abide by in terms of behavior in the class. Uh, Academic honesty, obviously, a very important thing. Uh, Academic honesty, there's a policy for Worcester State, which you can go and read, and that's linked in our syllabus online. And this includes definitions for relevant terms like plagiarism and how you might appeal any decision. There are kind of three main ways that academic dishonesty is dealt with at Worcester State. So if I find that you have plagiarized something, I will notify you via email. You will have a week in which to respond. We will talk about the evidence and figure out what the next steps are. Usually, what I will do is ask you to revise and resubmit that assignment. If we find that a serious violation has occurred, I will also file a report, and that goes into your academic central file. And I can also request to be told if you have any prior reports on file, and there may be kind of formal processes that escalate things further based upon any existing sort of reports that might be in your file. So that's kind of how academic honesty is dealt with. Basically, if you have a question about whether you're doing something correctly, hey, do I need to cite this information? Sort of how would I do that? Get in touch with me rather than just try to wing it and, sort of get away with it. Get in touch with me and we will, work together to determine how you can succeed. I want to talk a little bit about the responsible use of Gen AI in our course. Gen AI, that's software that can create text, images, it can develop code, audio, video, other kind of content. This is all now widely available, right? ChatGPT for text, DALL-E is used often for images. So this policy governs basically the use of all such tools, including those that might come out while we are, within this class during our semester together. So you are allowed to use generative AI in this class, but there are some guidelines. There is appropriate use and there is inappropriate use. Appropriate use would include using things like spell check, grammar checks, synonym identification tools, things like Grammarly, the kind of things that are included in Microsoft Word. You're free to use also Gen AI recommendations when it comes to rephrasing sentences or reorganizing paragraphs that you have first drafted yourself. You can use that to, kind of polish up your writing if you want. Inappropriate use of Gen AI tools includes things like using entire sentences or paragraphs suggested by a Gen AI tool without providing quotation marks and a citation, just as you would to any other source in this class. And I've included a sort of a template for how you would cite Gen AI in a assignment. You may not have a Gen AI tool write a draft, either rough or final, of any assignments for you. That includes discussion posts. If I see that you have, sort of used a Gen AI tool to do your discussion posts, I'm going to make you repost it. You cannot use any Gen AI tools to create images or artwork or videos or presentations in this class. I am not allowing that for a very good reason, because I want you to actually do your creative project yourself. And so, if you were to create a, sort of a piece of artwork related to your case, and I find that you've used Gen AI to do that, you're not going to, be happy with the results. So that's kind of the basic policy that I have on use of Gen AI. Using Gen AI to write an assignment for you is like using a forklift to lift weights at the gym. And I want you to think about that metaphor, that analogy for a second. It's the process that is beneficial, not the product. So, in other words, you are going to learn more and you are going to develop your skills by actually doing the work yourself, not by having an AI chatbot do it for you. Another reason that you might want to avoid using Gen AI to write your assignments is that the product does tend to be, I've found that it tends to be subpar, and it will be graded accordingly. In my experience, assignments that are generated by an AI tool tend to be overly general. They tend to be very simplistic, and sometimes they tend to be inaccurate. They will also hallucinate sources that do not exist. It's pretty easy for me to tell if someone has used a Gen AI tool. You're not really fooling anybody, and you're only cheating yourself out of valuable points by using these sources to complete your work for you. I've seen Gen AI described in this way, and I'm quoting here. When you enter text into it, you're asking, what would a response to this prompt sound like? If you put in a question and it comes back with a response citing a non-existent paper with a plausible title, using a real journal's name and an author's name who's written things related to your question, the AI isn't being tricky, it's not telling lies or doing anything at all surprising. This is what a response to that question would sound like. It did the thing. But people keep wanting the say something that sounds like an answer machine to be doing something else, and they believe that it is doing something else. It's good at generating things that sound like responses to being told it was wrong, so people think it's engaging in introspection or looking up more information or something, but it's not. It's only ever saying something that sounds like the next bit of the conversation. So you can use Gen AI as a brainstorming tool to generate ideas or alternate perspectives. You cannot rely upon this as your primary source of information. You cannot copy and paste the output of a Gen AI query into your assignments and pass this off as your own writing. If you do that, it's going to be counted as plagiarism. So that's my sort of spiel on responsible use of Gen AI. I also expect that you will be in communication with me. I want you to be able to check your email and Blackboard on a regular basis. You're required to use your Worcester State email account for all emails that you send to me. Course announcements will be sent to your email address. They will also be posted on our course Blackboard site, so please pay attention to those. Make sure you check them regularly for updates. I also want to talk a little bit about netiquette. That's just basically guidelines for behaving properly and respectfully online. We want to foster a learning community here. That means we want a safe and productive learning environment. You are very much encouraged to comment or question or critique ideas in this class, but attacking individuals, attacking their opinions, that is not okay. Likewise, expressing opinions that are derogatory or discriminatory or otherwise offensive, that is not going to be permitted in this class either. We're working together as a community of learners. We will hopefully build a polite and respectful course community. So we want to, basically encourage other people to join the discussion, present your ideas appropriately, including polite language. If you wouldn't say it in person, don't say it online. Share your expert knowledge and your tips with other people. Remember that the other people in this class are human beings on the other side of the screens. You want to make sure to use caution in your writing. For example, typing in all caps, that means that you're shouting, so don't do that. Try to make yourself, sort of look good online. Think and edit before you push that send button. Make sure to be forgiving of other people's mistakes as well. Spelling errors or dumb questions. Sort of everybody's human. Everybody's, sort of trying to do their best they can. Make sure to respect other people's time and privacy and bandwidth. Ask for feedback from your peers or from me when you think you might need it, and keep an open mind to other people's questions and opinions and share your own. So basically, just adhere to the same kind of professional behavior that you would follow in a face to face interaction. Just because we're online doesn't mean that, it's a free for all. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about absences. If you need to disengage from our course for a short time, that means fewer than 3 consecutive days, contact me as soon as you're able. We're going to work together to ensure that you make up any work that you might miss. If you're unable to do that, due to some circumstances, and you're going to be unable to engage in our course for a more extended period of time, so that's 3 or more consecutive days. So that would be 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, a month. You or one of your family members should get in touch with the Vice President for Student Affairs office. They will take down the following information. You want to give them your name, your student ID number, how long you might be absent, and for what dates you might be absent for, and the reason. So that includes documentation of illness or hospitalization or some kind of family emergency. Any questions can be directed to the Vice President for Student Affairs office. And that is kind of how we will deal with absences in our course. Finally, let's go over what you should be doing this week. So this week, what to do by Sunday, September 7th. You should review the information in the syllabus and in the module for week 1. There's a link there to the online learning orientation, which you can complete and post your certificate. If you've already done this for a previous class, you can feel free to just post that certificate that you got the last time, if you still have it. You should complete your first course journal entry on setting course goals, and the prompt for that is in Blackboard. There is a get to know you discussion forum that you can participate in. Your initial and response posts are all going to be due this week on Sunday, since it's a shortened week. But make sure to, sort of get to know your classmates and post a little bit about yourself, an introduction to yourself in the forum. And then by Sunday, September 7th, you should read the introduction called Historians and Their Sources, and the 2 appendices in your Going to the Source text. They go over information on how to cite sources and other, kind of useful information that you're going to need in the class. And if you have any questions, please do post them in the general questions forum, or if the matter is personal or sensitive, you can email me directly. And I am very much looking forward to getting to know everybody here, and I wish you all the best of luck. Take care.